Hey, what's up? How you doing? It's TJX Putin back with another video, and this is gonna be a little bit different. Literally the only game I've been playing is Marvel Rivals. I'm dangerously obsessed. Ever since I switched to freaking Wolverine from Panther, bro, I've just been climbing. So I hit Plat 1. Last night I got D-ranked to Plat 2 because I lost 4 games in a row. Just don't queue up with randoms all the time. Only do that if they're like really insanely good. But anyways, this is some gameplay from a pretty good game I had last night. Just a VOD, and I wanted to do a top 10 tips and tricks to climb to platinum. So I am hoping to make it to diamond soon, hopefully within the next couple days. But I've just gotten a lot of feedback from my own gameplay, and I've just really learned a lot from really playing this game. Let's just say a lot more than I should. So to help you climb, tip number 1 is focus on doing your job. Whether you are Vanguard, Duelist, or Strategist, do whatever you are doing or whatever you can do to the best of your abilities, because you cannot control your teammates. You can't control who you get queued up with. You can't control how good they are. You can't control their skill level. If they get butt hurt and want to start throwing, you can't, unfortunately. So as long as you're doing your job, you're improving. And like when I was in bronze to silver, I've had a much harder time climbing out than progressing through gold and platinum. The people in bronze and silver, it's like a different video game almost. Like they just don't get it to the biggest degree that they could. So just do what you can do and understand that, you know what, sometimes your team's just gonna suck ass, but as long as you are improving, regardless, you're gonna climb. Tip number 2: when other folks are refusing to play something different, when you have a 5 and 16 Star-Lord and he won't switch and he has like 3,000 damage, you have to be able to fill gaps. If your support is selling, like if one of them is just ass and is dying all the time, swap to support, because you're gonna have such a better time. You're gonna win so many more games swapping to fill a gap in your team versus just playing your main, playing the one person you're comfortable with. Because I hate to break it to you, in a team game like this, the person that you're most comfortable with is not always going to be the best choice for the situation your team is in. They're just not. Like if you have one tank and 3 DPS, but your tank is hot ass, if you know how to play a tank, swap, bro. Swap and go to a Groot, go to a Thor, go to a Captain America if they're diving and you have no answer for it. Like, you be the person that switches, because if you really want to climb, you playing the person that you really want to play is gonna become less important than you winning. Because like once you get up to the higher tiers of play and people actually know what they're doing with their characters, you can one trick more, because everybody's there for a reason. You don't make it to platinum on accident. You know what I mean? Like when you're in silver, when you're in gold, if you're in bronze, always be willing to swap. Know how to play more than just a couple characters. Tip number 3: be nice to your teammates. Everybody gets tilted and everybody gets really frustrated with their team sometimes. Here's the thing: if you tell your Psylocke that she's complete ass, she sucks, she's getting no kills, she needs to swap off, she's throwing, like human nature, what do you think is going to happen? They're going to get really pissed off with you, and they're either going to just talk a bunch of shit back and tell you how bad you are, or it's just going to turn into this big ass team argument. Everybody, the other people in chat are going to chime in and start talking shit. It's like, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help anything. So like if your Punisher is going like 2 and 7, hey, just approach it nicer. Like be like, hey Punisher, can you play anybody else? Are there any other roles you might be good at? Hey Punisher, If you like, do you need focus heals? Like, is there a certain reason why you're dying so much? When you approach it just in a nicer way, people often respond, less argumentatively. Now, that's obviously not gonna happen all the time. You can be super nice to somebody and they're gonna be like, "Shut up, kill yourself, I hate you." But you're going to have a higher chance of not having an argument if you approach something with critiquing a certain teammate's, skill level or gameplay. You're just going to have a much better time if you're just cool about it. And you're not an asshole, like, immediately. Tip number 4 is know how to play each role. I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but you really need to know how to play every role if you want to get to a higher tier rank, like, as quickly as possible. If you can swap to tank when you have 5 DPS and 1 support, you swap to tank, and then one of the other DPS will be like, "Oh man, if they switch, then maybe I'll just go support because I don't want to throw." Like, it makes it so much easier. So much easier. But, I mean, most games, if I'm maining Wolverine, for instance, if I insta-log Wolverine, we usually get at least 1 tank and 2 supports. Like, it's rare that people don't want to win. But you're going to have games where people don't care. You're going to have games where people insta-lock Spider-Man and go 4-12. That's just going to happen. But if you can fill those gaps and give your team a better chance of not losing, you're just going to win more games. You're just going to. Like, support's not the most fun role, but if you guys need a support and you have 1 Luna Snow on your team and the enemy team has 3 healers, like, if you can swap to an Invisible Woman, if you can swap to a Mantis, like, if you can play those people confidently and comfortably, you're gonna win more games. Like, there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Tip number 5 is focus ult coordination. Message your teammates, talk in chat. If you're playing Groot, tell your Moon Knight, "Hey bro, let's combine ults." Because I can't tell you how many times there's been games where, like, our team is averaging like 35 kills a piece. Like, we're just dogging these kids, but we're losing because the enemy team uses their ults together and wipes us off point, and they end up winning regardless of the skill gap. You have to communicate. If you're not getting healed and you need heals, type in chat, "Hey so-and-so, switch to this. Hey so-and-so, can you turn around a little bit more? Hey so-and-so." Just communicate, talk with your teammates, talk in game. Like, being able to strategize with the people on your team is so huge. Like, you really don't really understand it until you start doing it. But most people are really cool, like, in games like this. They just are. So when you're being, like, uplifting and motivating, and you're being positive to your teammates, you're like, "Come on guys, we can do this, so-and-so, go here, Moon Knight, you should use your ult when this happens," and just little stuff like that. You're gonna win more games. Tip number 7 is play with a duo if you can. I play with my brother Solomon a lot, and sometimes we go on fat ass losing streaks like we did last night, but other times we pop off and win 4 or 5 games in a row. It just helps because it's one other person that you can rely on, because in ranked, you're not going to have good teammates every time. But when you have at least one other person you can rely on, one friend, maybe your girl plays a game, when you guys are on the same page, like, let's say it's 2 DPS, like, usually me and Solomon, I'll play Black Panther and he'll play Spider-Man, and we'll just completely dive the back line. Or I'll go Thor and he'll go Captain America for the synergy. Just play with a friend if you can. Tip number 8, practice characters in competitive. Now, I don't mean learn their moves. Don't just swap onto somebody in comp that you've never touched before. But play a couple games with a new character that you might be wanting to learn in quick play. And in comp, like, anybody saying that quick play is practice, it's not. It's really not. That's where the overwhelming majority of players play the game, and the overwhelming majority of players that play this game suck ass at it. That's just the reality. So if you're, in a situation where you're kind of selling on your main right now, but there's somebody that you kind of practice a little bit in quick play, switch to them in comp. If you know what their buttons do, like playing in a competitive environment, there's no level of practice that's gonna supersede that. Not the training range, definitely not quick play. When you're in a situation where both of your teams want to win really, really bad, that's when you're gonna get real practice on the character. It's just the truth. Like quick play, people go in quick play, they play video games high. They're drinking like on the weekend with their buddies. Like they're not taking it seriously. You're not gonna get a real showing of what your character can and can't do, or what you're capable of doing with that person until you're in comp. Tip number 9: pay attention to synergies and activate them. If you have a Captain America on your team, swap to a Thor if you can play him. If you have a Luna Snow and you're playing DPS, switch to Namor. That ice turret is insane. You're gonna do so much damage, and it goes into, you know, prioritizing winning over just playing who you're comfortable with. Swap off. The synergies are so overpowered, a lot of them. If there's a Magneto and you know how to play Scarlet Witch is kind of ass. But if your Magneto is like super, super cracked, just play it for a little bit on a certain choke point. You can switch characters at any point in the game. Like, it's not something to where you're restricted. As soon as you die, you know, swap off to something. After a certain choke point, go back to who you're playing before. But, you know, take advantage of the synergies. Every time there's a magic, I go Black Panther. Every time. Because I'm so much more effective with Panther with that teleport. That ability that magic gives you, it's like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's so cracked to be able to get like 150 health back and then displace yourself through a teleportation. Like, really pay attention to what they do. Like, press whatever button tells you what your abilities and synergies do. Just take advantage of them the best that you can. Tip number 10: be patient with yourself. One thing that made me really happy was when I finally made it to Plat 1 and I was getting queued up with people that were all my same rank. It made me feel so much better about when I was climbing out of Silver, because I was like, man, I really wasn't the problem a lot of the times. Like, these people actually heal me. They're actually communicating. They're not staggering. They're waiting out of spawn when we get team wiped before they just run back to point and die for no reason. Like, sometimes you're not the problem, and you, again, can't control who you get queued with. But don't get too upset at yourself and be like, man, I'm ass. I'm never going to climb out. You're only never going to climb out if you don't think that you are. When you're not patient with yourself and you think that just because you're still stuck in gold after 2 weeks that you just suck, you're never going to make it out, because it's like, that's such a negative, you know, mindset to set for yourself. You're not garbage a lot of the times. You aren't. And you can really make it harder on yourself by convincing yourself that you're bad because you're losing a team game. If you're winning your engagements, if you're winning your 1v1s, if you're making sure that your DPS stay alive, if your support, if you're taking space and playing smart and having good positioning as a tank, if you're getting picks on duelists and supports as a duelist, just remember that as soon as you climb out of the people that also suck ass, or not also suck ass, but as soon as you climb out of the people where, you know, more likely than not, they're not going to be that good, it's going to be a game changer. Once you finally get to a certain level where you can depend on your teammates, bro, it changes so many things. So that was pretty much my yap. I played a lot of Overwatch 2. I never played Overwatch 1, but I played a lot of Overwatch 2, and I was hard stuck bronze. Like, I think I made it out of silver as support maybe like twice. No joke. Because it was just like, the rank system in that game is so ass. It's designed for you to not climb. It just is. Like, the game wants to keep you there. It's just so weird. But this game with no role queue, with no restrictions, with, you know, team synergies, just so many options for different comps. It's really, you know, allowed me to kind of grow as a team shooter player, and this is the highest ranked I've ever been in a game like this, like in my life. Like I was too scared and too inexperienced to play ranked in Paladins, and with Overwatch, it's like the game's been out since 2016, and it was my first time ever playing. It's like I'm not gonna be able to, you know, out DPS a Genji that's been playing Genji, you know, since launch. I'm just not. So really happy this game came out. I'm really loving it. I need to stop being such a lazy asshole and make more content on it, because I really do enjoy it a lot. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know. Give me a like, give me a sub, all that good stuff. If you like my tips or had any other suggestions, leave it in the comment section. Yeah, it's been TJ Extra Putin. I will catch y'all in the next one. Deuces.